about it. Okay. All right. So again, it was February 25th, and this is we're in Sonoma Hub. Okay. So Anna, you had some things you wanted to bring up?
Well, Dina and I have been trying to up our connections
Mhm.
with people. I have several people three people that I've connected with are involved or interested in going forward. And I'll just quickly tell you, one is Barry Vesser, who is climate action. He is interested in coming forward personally as a long-term environmentalist, but it would connect us to that group, although that group is involved in changing laws primarily, rather than on the ground. But Barry lived up, I think, in Occidental Arts and Ecology. He and his wife, he's a long-term person involved with this sort of thing. So he's interested. I'll get back to him on it. I talked with Wendy Krupnick, who is connected with our local farmers organization, and Wendy, which is part of who she is feeling totally overwhelmed, and she always takes on too much. And I love her, but that's it. Her reaction is, I can't even look at anything else. We're not getting our money for farming and blah, 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 blah. So I'm hanging in there with her because I think she needs to be grounded in a group as well. And this is more her overwhelm reaction than possibly down the road. So I'm going to keep sharing with her and keep connecting. Yesterday, Christine came with me, Dina, which was good.
Wait. Before you leave CAF,
Yeah.
I just opened your Anna's copy of the bioregional index, and I see where you've put in notes and all about Wendy and Evan from CAF. What if you shared the same thing with the younger lady, Anna, that I talked to, that also works for Sonoma RCD? Because she's the one that called into the SoCo-CAN meeting when you were presenting bioregionalism months ago.
Is her name?
So I'll find her email and full name and send it to you. What?
Is her name Emily?
No, her name is Anna, I think. Wait, it's not Emily. I'll find it.
Okay, because Christine and I talked yesterday with Derek Trowbridge, who is interested. He's willing to come on. He wants to know when we get started, keep him in. And Derek, besides doing all this incredible work with the winery industry and compost and all of that, has been spearheading the resistance to what they're planning in the gravel pit. There's a huge, very destructive project planned here. He's been leading the resistance to that. He's great.
The one in Petaluma or the one in Forestville?
Forestville.
Okay.
So Derek is probably on, which was very good news. I have a lot of respect for him. And Dan Noble, who runs the Compost Coalition and has been in a group with Derek, is on. Would love to come because he's pulling back from his being in charge of it, and we'll have more time. and would bring not only his background, but also a lot of training in pro-social. And he knows Joe. He was in the pro-social training group with Joe. So he'll be a good person to have in our circle as well. And I've got some lists, Dina, from Derek, both the Goldridge RCD, and he said Emily is the contact person that would really be interested. Healthy Soils, CDFA. Do we have that?
Let's see.
Okay, at any rate, we can look. They've been giving a grant. He had a grant from them. So he said we should talk to a woman named Valadia at UC Davis, who is involved in all of this and is she's a UC Davis professor who is becoming more and more involved
So is she an individual?
as an individual. I'll have to find out more about her. And Meg Agriculture, I think, which is interesting. So, and then he gave me the name of the person to contact at Dry Creek Rancheria. So I'm going to do that right away today, later this afternoon. So that's sort of my report out for the last little bit of activity here. And I think we need to just I'd like to know sort of how many people do we need to have potentially in our circle before we look like we've got the number that we need to start. And I actually have 3 questions to talk about and love to have your feedback. There's that question. There's, we're going to have Joe's course to help us launch and do it properly, because I have a big question. What do we have to bring in so it isn't just another group of people trying to get together and taking up all this time before they get to know each other? How can we move that immediately into something that supports them, but doesn't drain them? You know, that's a big question to me that I'm going to take to Joe and Penny. What are the guidelines? And then what gets set up by the group? What are we responsible for before we start? And then what will the group decide about what it's going to be and how often it's going to meet, so forth. So there's that question. And the third one, Pat, I am more concerned now about the Marin Sonoma space difference. Involving the two together is going to be tricky.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that with you and Dina. And I think it's important, but I also think that functionally it's hard. And I was wondering if we should have separate connected hubs,
Yeah.
or if we should try to do it all together, or if we should have separate hubs that occasionally come
Yeah.
all together for the bigger picture once we have something formed in our more specific region. And that would include Mendocino.
Mhm.
They would do it separately too, the gal who's up there. I mean, separately connected. Maybe with, as long as there's somebody who's part of our meeting that should keep going. So there's my question. I don't know the form that's going to take.
Um, what these people you're talking about, they are now potential people to come together for the Bioregional Learning Center meetings, right? It's not about coming into this.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. And in response to your last question, that is something that I think we still need. We can still stay connected like this, but I think it is looking like we're working in different areas,
Mm-hmm.
and with it, they have their own issues. Matter of fact, I have something to send you both, because I'm also involved in Project Adapt, which meets once a month, and we've been together for about 3 years now. And Lauren is she and Steve Hicken started this um, as a response to deep adaptation with Jem Bandel. But in my over a period of time, my conversing with Lauren about what I'm doing here in Earth Regeneration, she joined, and I think we had she set up a meeting with Joan Penny, which I joined on Zoom. So uh, I'm saying all this because Project Adapt now is doing something locally and at a bi-regional level in terms of the whole Bay Area. The 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 people who live around the Bay Area. So I'll send that to you, and you see what's maybe getting off the ground. So there's something to happen there that may be part of this in the future. And I don't have as many connections that you have. I don't have as many connections down here. I still am waiting for Ken to respond. My main change is that I'm not it's so much um, because of the poor results I've gotten. I'm not thinking in terms of linking up, connecting with people and turning them on to Earth Regeneration, with what I'm doing with Joe Brewer, as much as I like what you put out about connecting with organizations. So I'm going to be meeting with the person who chairs the uh, Lagunitas Creek Watershed Technical Advisory Committee that meets once a month, I think. All these organizations that they're like stakeholders in the wellness and the well-being of the watershed. So these are organizations, and I want to find out from her. I want to talk to her first. Maybe there's some people I connect with about organizations coming in with us in this idea of uh, uh, a learning center, bioregional learning center, with with Marin Sonoma. But at the same time, Ken Booley has offered a place here, a physical place, but I'm more interested in weaving relationships as the bioregion right now, until we have a place. But it's that I think we can do both things at the same time. We can be connected and think about having a general bioregion and a learning center and have our local. Does that make any sense? Oh, is it too confusing?
Yeah, I think I've got you. We can do it somewhat separately, but connected.
Yeah,
And I don't know that we'll ever have for, a while, I can't see it, the actual physical learning center.
yeah, right.
The idea of moving around to each other's sites seems
I like
to
that.
me better because
Yeah, I
then
like
we
that.
get to know each other and what we're
Yes.
doing. And
In person, I like that.
yeah, everybody gets to see. It
Yeah.
was fun. Derek said, oh, we could meet outside here, it's, and he knows the solar punk guys and what they're doing. And so it's a matter of helping people. I guess. And I think that if we do it well, and it's attractive to say we have 10 or 12 people in the group, they'll bring in other people.
Yeah, yeah,
We don't have to personally connect everyone. So it's getting a core group. They all have been doing this work and they have connections. So I'm just most concerned with getting people I want to get somebody from Dry Creek, Rancheria, so that indigenous connection is there, and that we have Maya Kosla, somebody who's doing forestry, somebody who's doing water, so that we're beginning food, so that we're beginning to cover the larger ground. Not so much with people like us who've been sort of organizing around climate, but people who've been doing the actual physical work
yes.
of regenerating.
Yeah, the other thing, Anna, reading, it'll be helpful, first of all, to be back in this learning journey, focusing on exactly what we're trying to do. And also reading Joe's book again, it sets a time context for what we're doing. I mean, it got to be so much that that was coming out of the book. I realized the amount of time that he's talking about. I mean, you need to do first things first and build. But I'm just wondering if sometimes think we think in terms of getting too much done at once when it's really it's a long-term process.
Although less so than it was, because our breakdown is all around us right now.
Yeah.
I think it's more urgent.
Uh-huh.
My
Yeah.
feeling is
If people can see it.
that we've entered, nobody could have foreseen what's been happening the last month. I mean, I didn't, even having survived an earlier Trump administration, I was not prepared for Elon Musk and the dismantling of our entire system.
Yeah.
So
It's been very apparent.
You notice
It's been
though,
very apparently that even people, there's a lot of people that are kind of in this in-between zone where they don't have a big picture of how bad things can just implode. They're kind of like, I'm kind of surprised finding them. They're kind of like in this zone of, well, something needed to be done. And I'm like, so the means justify the end category? Is that the group you're in? So it's been kind of a reckoning lately to Anna that yes, we can see all this destruction and imploding happening, but there's whole groups of people that don't really see the writing on the wall of how bad this could be.
they will, as it
Uh,
that's coming, but those aren't the people who would be joining us anyway, Dina.
No, but it's kind of like messing with my mind.
I know.
but you notice what's happening. I mean, I've noticed in the paper, the pushback is starting from within constituencies, Republican constituencies, pushing back on their congressmen And that's what seems to be happening because what they're doing. I think it's surprising the people who voted for them. Like you said, they're naive, and so that's where things are starting to happen in a pushback or upset kind of place. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's I listened. I wanted to know, Dina, did you go to the town hall?
I did. So I went to Jared Huffman's
Yeah,
town.
I tuned in. I tuned in on my phone.
To the one that was live or the recent phone-in one?
Oh, I tuned into the one last night on the
Okay,
phone.
that was the phone-in one. I assume it was kind of similar to the one in person, which was a lot to take in. Have you gone to any of these town hall meetings, Pat?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, so Jared Huffman is he was more blunt than he's ever been about what's going on. And a lot of people were just saying, hey, you're strong. This push back. And he was saying, stay involved, talk about this, get out there. And the one that got the standing ovation was the 16-year-old girl that passionately described what she learns in her classes about history, and don't let this be like a Hitler situation that took only 53 days in office.
Uh-huh.
And this girl, she's been in the newspaper, her speech has been recorded and live. She got a standing ovation. That was very interesting hearing, such a passionate youth. So I don't know, was it kind of the same in the phone-in one, Anna?
Not so intense but it was people who were upset about what was happening potentially, talking about Social Security, about Medi-Cal, about all the issues. So it was predictable, but the message was generally that it's very important right now to let your voices be heard, make the phone calls, but what came through to me too was how handicapped the Democrats are in the minority. That even people like Jared, who would like to be doing more, are sort of,
They are, and they're picking their battles, as he said.
right.
But it could come to a head. They had to have some leverage to shut down the government March
Right.
14th.
If they're looking at the possibility for doing that,
Yeah.
which they don't want to do because it has tough consequences across the board, but it may be necessary.
Well, everything is tough consequences, whether people follow the line of what's happening or not. So I don't know. One thing I want to tell you guys that I found really interesting is standing kind of like 10 feet away from where Tor and I were sitting was a very anti-Jared Huffman, pro-Trump woman. And what I thought was really interesting is she could have had the opportunity to raise her hand and get a turn at the microphone as anyone else, but she chose to just stand back there for a good hour, just shouting bullying statements of her opinion. And I thought that was like really interesting because I think he said anybody can express your opinion. Let's just try to be civil. But that was not her mode of operandum. It was to act like a bully and just shout things out.
Disrupt, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's really interesting. I know we're off topic, but we hadn't gotten a chance to share this, and it kind of clouds what we're trying to do. And it also gives us impetus to keep going. And thank you, Anna, for being full force contacting these people and making this happen the last few weeks. You're very appreciated.
Thank you. It's
Yeah, you've been
it's
driving it, Anna.
hard. It's hard what I just did a dive into in that inner space thing was trying to balance, this is your own sense of grief and loss that I've been feeling going through this without Roland would have been so different with him. Somebody who's there, who reacts to the world like I do, just to share the feeling. And I can't tell you how important that is.
Mhm.
Or, you have it, both of you in your relationships, I hope. And that learning to have to do that by myself while feeling the has been the big challenge.
I think that's one important reason to keep our little hub going regularly, because we
Right.
need each other to debrief and to express this grief and frustration and depression. And maybe we don't
then-
have to record all that check-in, but we need that check-in with each other.
And I shared what I've learned from Ramdev, who is wonderful, by the way, Pat. He's right down there with you.
Who's?
Del Borglum. He's in Fairfax, I think.
Can you
He's-
type his name in the chat
I'm not
for
sure who.
Pat? Can you?
No, this is the Living Dying Project.
Oh,
He's the teacher. He's a close friend of Ram Dass.
oh, I see. Or a
He's in
close
that
friend around
same
town.
lineage. She's been a death doula for 40 years. He's incredible. But he's helped. What he's saying is helping me is that to see those intense feelings instead of trying to push them down so you can function, is to go into them
Mhm.
and see them as a portal. That
Right.
the feelings can then move and express, and they're a portal to our larger connections. And that grief that I've had to experience faces all of us if we outlive our most beloved, but also it's a grief for the whole. We're feeling because we are connected, we're not. Our separateness is partly
It's an illusion.
creation of our ego.
Yes.
And we're feeling what's happening. And the thing that's so clear to me, just to share it with you, is in the larger picture of things, Elon and Donald are pathetic little boys who weren't allowed or didn't or couldn't develop into full human beings who can feel love and be loved. An absence of that love, that basic love, when you can't feel it or receive it, source of greed. Then you start trying to fill that emptiness with everything you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
And you're looking at two really pathetic people, but of course they're capable of doing great damage. And we let them be in a position. So to do that. But it's it hit me like this because Steiner in the 1920s said that in this period that we're living in, because he could see forward for whatever reason, Ahriman, who's the incarnation, the spiritual incarnation of greed, that whole kind of thing, was going to incarnate in person. And we'd have to confront it. So it's, I think that's what we're looking at, is the real answer to all of this is connection. It's just staying with our grief as something precious, not something to be pushed down so we can function, but something to be felt. And that's been very helpful. It doesn't make it less, it's not easy, but it's helpful to me because it's helping me move through. And I think that a lot of us, because we've lived in such an kind of arbitrarily separated life in some ways, are struggling with this. This is something we have to share. And that our group could, it's got to be at the core, the very heart core of the group that we form, is that level of sharing, not this level, but leave your ego, leave your separateness at the door and come in and really try to listen and be with each other. So,
That's very much at the heart of this Project Adapt project. It's at that level of wholeness, of connection. And actually, we're looking for putting out a description or well, what I'm sending you is something that they want to put out to get partners, other organizations to come in and plan this with us, an event. And you'll see that what the event is, some kind of event in the woods or somewhere. We're having it. We want to buy it. I'll send it to you. So you can see this as, some way to go to develop and be part of a larger thing with us. So.
Oh, and I did connect with, I reconnected with Planet Drum, with Judy, and they did that. They did those kind of gatherings out in the trees, and we can look back at how they did it too. So I'm going to communicate with her and talk to her.
Good.
I'd like to go down and see her.
Where is she?
San Francisco.
Wow.
Planet Drum. So, because she's been living this since the 80s. There's a lot of wisdom, I think, held there about how to do this. And oh my goodness, the BioFi, did you guys get into the BioFi network?
No time. Sorry.
That's a step. You need to look at that, because out of that, there's this core group that I'm involved in now, and I'm just beginning to step into it. But Matt is part of it, and I want to talk to him about it too and see where it really is functioning yet. But it's young and dynamic and very articulate, and it has a member portal that has a different name. I forget the name, of course, like I do everything these days. It's oh shoot, I don't have it down here, but I'll do what I can with that because I have more time than you, Dina. And Pat, you may want to plug in just to see. We've got our blurb on it now. We are an identity in that group, and I'm your liaison with it, but you should see what it is.
Okay. BioFi.com? Is that what it is? BioFi.com?
.org.
.org. Okay. I'll see what I can do. kind of overextended with this other project, but
Oh, yeah, no, I know, just take a look at it though.
yeah, take a look at it.
So what,
And the other one was the Weaving Earth that I went to. There were 800 people signed up for it. You know, the great majority in England. The other thing that's not England, but in Europe, and all over England and Croatia and Greece and lots of people are doing this work. And I understood Joe is just a player in a group of players.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. And the other thing that's happened that I just became really aware of is that the whole Greater Toronto area thing is reformed. And it's called Legacy.
Oh,
It's
it's not
called
Toronto,
legacy.com.
legacy.com. Oh,
It's a coalition between Joe and his group and the group there,
Toronto.
Takaranto. And Legacy is the coalition, and it's
Mhm.
a whole new website, a whole new approach.
Oh, good.
So that is exciting to look at.
Yeah. So a little development there.
They're going like mad.
Mm.
I mean, every time I feel a little overwhelmed, I look at what Joe and Penny are actually doing, and I think, she, they may be younger, but yikes, they're really moving.
It's
Well,
it's their passion and their job and their life. So
they're having their immersion this week, I think.
yes, I've seen little things of that.
There's
So
a bunch of people, yeah.
yeah. So I think there's value in us having this loose Marin Sonoma hub in that the three of us are in contact, knowing what's going on and looping in. And when we have our floating first bioregional get together, then of course, Pat and whoever else he manages to invite are welcome if they can make it. And Pat, when you have an event that you're going to be planning, then invite us so we can still have our loose connection, just like we had a loose connection starting to develop with Kirsten in Mendocino. And in the meantime, we're getting closer thanks to Anna keeping poking and having the ability to nail down a first in-person event with and making an invitation with an agenda so we can invite people we've been talking to and maybe just some other people we know about, people or groups that we feel like, what the heck, give them an invitation. And I would also hope that during that in-person meeting, we do get somebody, maybe Matt, to enlighten us a little bit about BioFi during our get together.
Yeah.
Just from a person, an in-person person, because a lot of us are like, oh yeah, I really should look at that website, but I've got all this other things I have to do. So it gets pushed out of the way. And sometimes hearing from a person
Yeah.
gives us
Well,
enough information.
I do feel that are we all in the course in March?
Mhm.
Good, because that's the place we get our marching.
Yeah.
They've done it enough now that they can really help us launch, which is the whole point of the course, I think. And so I'm looking at probably if we push ourselves right now and do our interviews or our connections, we should be able to have something in place by April, something that's starting.
Well, April's filling up, so I think the question is for Matt, are you really going to host in Grayton? And give us 2 dates to choose from or something to commit. And then we work on the agenda for that gathering.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send you this thing we're putting out and see if it gives you any ideas. You get a feel for what we're doing for the event.
And what you're doing, because it's different people, will come out different. And luckily, we know there's no right or wrong way. We
Yeah.
just have to do something and build.
and we don't have to all meet together in the beginning, or we can. I mean, that's, I just feel the stress. I think that would make it harder. So it depends, Pat, on whether you want to start down there and then put them together. That's a question. It doesn't have to be answered today. Whether
I
we
think
want-
we plan
whether
it when we can, since we're going to be doing a lot of the inviting and hopefully Matt's going to doing the hosting. It's like we pick what works, invite a lot of people, including Pat, and some people will come and some won't.
Dina, did you talk more with the Solar Punk guys?
No, they seem to be an overwhelm.
Well, everybody is right now. That's the
Yeah.
point. Everybody is.
I mean, it probably would be great if we had 2 suggested dates from Matt that we include them with us as weighing in on those dates to make sure they show up.
Although I don't feel like we should meet until we have the possibility of a certain, and Derek agreed with this, people's time. They don't have time to build it slowly. They need to have something that inspires people and supports them initially, first meeting. So I would
Talking
be
about
a
a critical mass then, right? A
I would
critical
be
mass.
a little more structured. I don't want to go forward unless we have at least 10 or 12 groups or people at the table, because if it's too small, it won't fly.
Yeah,
Five-
but you can't pick a date based on the 10 or 12 folks or groups that you have interested, or you'll never
wouldn't-
find something soon.
I
It's
know.
kind of like you just 4 of us say this works for us, and we invite more than 10 people, and in order to get that 10 to 12.
Yeah, I agree.
And
So
yes, I don't feel comfortable inviting anybody to anywhere without a program, an agenda.
I don't think we should. It's hard. I don't know if we should move that way though before we start our course in March with Joe and Penny. I would like to kick this slightly down the road because I think the way it is when we launch is critical. How much we have it together. I don't want to have it like not too clear.
Okay, but I still think it's worth pinning down a couple possible dates, even though we're not
Now?
ready.
Would we do that now?
No, I think it depends on the host. Is Matt really going to host? Then he needs, and he's, he travels, he does this, he does that. We need the host to tell us a couple
So we
dates.
need to talk to Matt and find out in the time ahead.
He's
where
in Australia now.
space for this. We can just have a meeting with him and figure it out. We
Okay.
don't even know if he wants to do it yet, or if he's open to be the person.
I got a message that he's on his way to Australia to see his family. He's got family there because he responded to our meeting reminder. Did you get anything
Is
like?
it Matt?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
you're talking about Matt from what's the organization?
Revillage.
Yeah, here I'll find.
Yeah, he gets your email with the Zoom invitation. He must have just replied to you.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah,
great.
that's a good, I'm glad this came
We'll
up.
have to wait till he gets back.
Yeah, I want to make sure you're in the loop on that, so I'll
Thank you.
I'll make sure, I'll send you Matt's I'll forward.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So 11:21, do we have these are the critical issues. Is there anything else that we needed to bring up? Oh, what's happening with Beans? Has anybody been in touch with him?
Yeah, he
I don't
emailed
know.
me back after 2 weeks ago after our meeting. I made contact and he said that he was busy with winter stuff. There's been snow, there's been power
Oh, wow.
outage or internet outage and stuff. So it wasn't anything bad. He's just tuned into his current situation there.
Yeah, and he's not directly, I think he's transitioning to his next step.
Yeah,
Okay, so can we look at March? Because we've been meeting the second and the fourth Tuesdays, correct?
well, I know it's just every other Tuesday, so you want to look at let's look,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh,
this
the,
second,
the 18th is the beginning, I think, isn't it the 18th of March?
yes,
Yeah, that's the beginning of the webinar, right?
yeah.
So,
So we do have the second Tuesday, the 11th,
yeah,
and the
that's,
fourth.
yeah,
Okay,
that's when I thought we would be meeting again.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure we were all on this same
yeah,
page.
And we're going to have that alternative, there's an alternative work group. There's the webinar every 2 weeks, and in between there's a study group. And we may be able to put our meeting together with that. Uh-oh, my battery is running low. Are we getting close? Let me go in the other room with it. Ugh. I've been sitting where it's warm.
10:30 to 11:30, March 11th, right, Dina?
Yeah, that's our second Tuesday.
Okay, and then the 18th is the first webinar, yeah. Okay. Um, let me get this other thing out to you guys then. So, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing that Beans is transitioning. He's going to be moving, I guess, to New Mexico coming up.
Yeah, it sounded like he had to take care of things in the
Yeah,
snow.
right. Yeah, and he had some trouble with his either Wi-Fi or whatever. I'm not sure.
The internet went down.
Yeah, power.
Um,
So when we get off, I'll email you Matt's letter.
okay. And Anna, her name was not Anna, it was Maria, and from the Sonoma RCD, who also is involved with CAF. So she might have more space than Wendy and Evan to bring a CAF perspective and be interested.
That would be good. And I'll talk to I'll ask her about Emily, who may want to be involved.
He
Derek.
told me Emily was the Goldridge RCD. That's a different organization.
That's different. Okay, we need to
By the way, did you get also a notice from the announcement that Joe was telling somebody about us and that she was all excited to get in touch with us?
Yeah, did you get that name down?
I didn't get the name down, but I'm waiting for. I thought she would get in touch with us. I'll have to find that. You must have gotten it too because you're on the platform. So
Yeah, I got it.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So all right. So oh, by the way, Anna, do you want to write a? I get besides getting the video recording, I get this AI thing.
I don't.
I'll send it to you if you want it. Do you want to write a little something up for us?
Sure.
Okay. And then I'll wait for you when you get it to me, and then I'll put the video out. Is that all right?
Mhm. It should just be brief. Nobody
Yeah,
wants.
just brief, just to let people know what's
And
on it.
it was a good example for me of how of what AI can't do.
What
And
it
it
can't
was
do.
sort of accurate, but it had no sense of what the meeting was really about or what we came to. It was,
Well, that's really disturbing about going into the future because
yeah,
I know kids use the AI now for their homework and their problem solving. And so,
that's a whole other thing. It's very, Bill McKibben said that there were two great challenges facing humanity. One was climate change, and the second was AI.
yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, the other thing I saw is that crypto stuff uses a lot of water. Do you notice about, do you know about that?
What's that?
The AI, AI
Right.
uses a lot of water.
It's water and it's
What, for what? I mean,
I don't understand
I
how
don't
it works,
understand it.
but the amount of power is incredible
The amount
too.
of power, yeah, yeah. Maybe.
So it's yikes. Anyway.
That's
We're
what we need to connect like.
wanted to, before you go, I want to share with you what's getting me through right now.
Okay.
I do two things. I play Jai Uttal.
You do what?
Jai Uttal. There's a wonderful tape on if you need to chill or while you're doing something, go on Spotify if you get Spotify and play Jai Uttal. Wonderful. It really centers. He's a good friend of Ramdev's, and so he's wonderful singer. The other is Jane Goodall's Book of Hope.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. It's such a profound, simple, straightforward book. I was trying to read your Jen Bendel book and I couldn't read it at this point.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's
I
just,
just couldn't. It
no,
was too, oh no,
it's too much.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
So, but Jane Goodall's book speaks, she's right out there. She's dealing with the worst aspects of everything we know about. But the Book of Hope is her sense of the larger picture of how we could get through all of this is profound and very, that it really is, we have this capacity to go either direction. And she's such a brilliant model for me, still going strong at 90. God bless her.
Yes.
Having her whiskey at the night.
wow.
Anyway, there's pictures and writing and stories that actually made me cry.
I'll look it up.
It's so beautiful.
Check it out, Hannah.
Hmm.
Okay, well, it's good to get together. I mean,
Love
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Love you,
Yeah.
Pat.
we'll see each other on the 11th, and then we have the journey to go to get together with.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. And Dina, see you soon. We'll get together. Okay. Keep going. You let me know. You're busy. Let me know when you're got some freedom.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do this week, and today is we have a produce exchange and a Grange meeting, and I mean, even though we were gone like only a couple days, it
I
throws you
know.
into
At least it looks like it's going to be a nice day this afternoon.
yeah, it's a nice day out my window, and I'm stuck with computer tasks to take care of.
Oh,
But that's
so-
okay. Yeah.
So blessings.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy your baby, Pat.
Okay, I will. I'll see him maybe in a week or so.
Yeah.
How exciting. All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.